Hi, I'm Harold Bell, and this is the Legends of Inside Sports and the Way We Were. Today's show is about some who have forgotten to come back. The next voices you will hear will be that of NFL great and the $50 million man, Jim Brown, former heavyweight champion and the king of outdoor grills, George Foreman, controversial television talk show host, Geraldo Rivera, boxing promoter Don King, and my friend and main man, Muhammad Ali.
Well, Harold has been a crusader for the rights of black people all of his life. He has also been a crusader that has had a lot of friends, not only in the black community, but the white community in sports. He's always been outstanding, always an individual, always speaking his mind, always giving you a platform to express your views. And when I was incarcerated, he did everything he could to attack those that incarcerated me unfairly. And he's one of my friends over the years. We've done many things together. So Harold is truly a man that believes in his culture and his people, and will always be that way because nobody's ever been able to change him. This is the heavyweight champion of the world, George Foreman, for the best in sports and sports personalities. When I am in Washington, D.C., I check out my good friend Harold Bell and Inside Sports. Talking about a real champion, Harold Bell and Inside Sports. For many fans of the sweet science of boxing, the head rat has long been Don King, a one-time numbers runner and street punk who served jail time for manslaughter. King has been called a ghetto Machiavelli, a high-stakes hustler, a celebrity promoter who has guided the careers, some say victimized, boxing stars from Muhammad Ali to Mike Tyson. And with us in Washington, Harold Bell, a pioneer in the field of sports talk radio and TV. Mr. Bell has known Don King for more than 20 years. Hi, this is Don King of Don King Productions for the undisputed champion of sports talk. You must turn to my man, Harold Bell, and the original Inside Sports. For the best in sports and sports personalities, Inside Sports and Harold Bell are knockout. This is the second revolution. The situation of the things that I said, I love all of you. Check out Inside Sports with my main man, Harold Bell. Inside Sports with the knockout.
And now, from the playing field of Banneker to the locker room of RFK Stadium, it's Inside Sports with your host, Harold Bell. Give Harold a call at 462-3313, 462-3313.
Okay, welcome back to the Legends of Inside Sports, and I'm your host, Harold Bell. Unlike Ali, most of these athletes and media personalities I'm about to introduce to you forgot to come back. Before their 15 minutes of fame, many were participants and benefactors of Kids in Trouble and Inside Sports. They read like a who's who. You can Google them and see where they were before 1970 and where they are now. Each and every one of them had some impact in their chosen fields. Some became millionaires. Some had streets and buildings named after them. But 95% of them never came back to the program that supported them when they had absolutely nothing. This is really not anything new. It has been uh, our mode of operation for decades. The recent tribute gala to the DC Black Repertoire Theater in Washington, D.C., and its founder, Robert Hooks, I was a presenter. I was making an effort during my presentation to wake up everybody by remembering the late founder of the Dance Theater of Harlem, a man that I admired and respected, the great Arthur Mitchell. Mr. Mitchell was a guest on the CBS magazine show 60 Minutes over 40 years ago, and CBS correspondent, the equally great Marley Safer, was conducting the interview. The topic was the future of the theater and its young black talent. Mr. Mitchell was explaining to Mr. Safer the theater needed financial support if they were going to survive. He pointed out there was no financial support coming from the rich and famous black Hollywood, millionaire pro athletes, and high profile politicians. They were not giving back. Morley Safer looked straight into the eyes of Mr. Mitchell and said, Arthur, you sound angry. Mr. Mitchell did not miss a beat. He looked Morley Safer straight and directly in his eyes and said, Morley, you show me a black man and woman who is not angry about the state of black America, and I will show you a black man and woman who needs to see a psychiatrist. The same can be said of today's black, rich, and famous athletes who think they have arrived. When Honoree Robert Hooks thanked the folks who supported the DC Black Repertoire Theater in his closing speech, I almost fell out of my seat when he chastised the black athlete for not giving back to the black community. In 1977, my mentee, Sugar Ray Leonard, made his professional boxing debut. I organized a bus ride to Baltimore to support him. Among the riders were Willie Wood of the Green Bay Packers, Fred Thomas of TV7, Jim Vance, TV4, Martin Wyatt, TV4, Sonny Hill, NBA. Robert Hooks and his son Kevin were among a packed bus that took the ride to Baltimore Civic Center. I've known Robert for 50 plus years, and this was the first time I ever heard him call the black athlete out in a public forum for not reaching back. I remember calling him shortly after his return to Hollywood, asking him to reach out to Sugar Ray Leonard and remind him who he was and where he came from. It took 40 years to follow the lead of Arthur Mitchell, but better late than never. In February 2018, there was a story in the Washington Post that concluded 50 years after the 1968 rise, blacks in America had made zero progress in housing, education, and employment. In 1968, the Kerner Report forewarned us we were headed for two different Americas, one black and one white. And in 2018, we are here. I was thrilled to see Robert had finally found a platform where he was comfortable in calling out the black athlete. Too many of us are still talking the talk, but few are walking the walk. We always want the truth to be brief. Our struggle in America has been anything but brief. You know, the KKK got it right when they were supposedly have said, black folks have made our jobs easier. We can now lay back. They are robbing and killing each other. The problem is not the KKK and their followers. The problem is we don't like ourselves. In my new book, The Legends of Inside Sports, I will talk about my walk through American sports and community history with champions and chumps, up close and against all odds. There will be no he say, she say. Remember, I'm not saying I am responsible for their success, but I am saying before their 15 minutes of fame, they all benefited from the pioneering platforms of Kids in Trouble and Inside Sports. These stories you won't see on ESPN, HBO, TNT, and TV One's Unsung. You know, it's often said a press room at Deadline is the most segregated institution in America, second only to a church on Sunday morning. But you can go to blackmeninamerica.com and click on my photo and scroll down the page and get my autographed book in my own words. The stories of champions and chumps will include Muhammad Ali, Red Auerbach, Bert Sugar, and the lineup of players below. Let me give them to you in alphabetical order. You might know one of these 46 folks that came through Kids in Trouble and Inside Sports. David Aldridge, Washington Post and TNT. Tim Baylor, NFL. Ramon Bain, Michael Jackson's publicist. Dave Bing, NBA. Kevin Blackistone, ESPN. Larry Brown, NFL. Jamie Foster Brown, Sister to Sister Magazine. Jim Brown, NFL. James Brown, CBS. Adrian Branch, NBA. Maureen Bunyan, TV7. Adrian Dantley, NBA, Bobby Gardner, NFL, Cornelius Green, Ohio State, Larry Fitzgerald Sr., ESPN, Glenn Harris, DC Sports Talk Radio, Darrell Hill, Naval Academy in the University of Maryland, Grant Hill, NBA, Robert Hooks, DC Black Repertoire Theater, Kathy Hughes, Urban Radio 1 and TV, Tracy Jackson, NBA, Lamont Jordan, NFL, Mark Two Sharp Johnson, boxing, Don King, boxing, Randy Kennedy, Harvard Law professor, Jair Lynch, Olympic gymnast, Sugar Ray Leonard, boxing, Vashti McKenzie, the first female bishop in the AME Church, Tony Page, NFL, Lavonia Perriman, radio talk show host, Bill Raspberry, Washington Post, and winner of the Pulitzer Prize, Bill Roden, New York Times and ESPN, Darryl Sabbs, Cardozo High School, Deep Throat, Donnie Simpson, radio TV, John Thompson, Georgetown basketball, Roland Fatty Taylor, ABA, NBA, Lonnie Taylor, Capitol Hill, Cecil Turner, NFL, Chris Thomas, comedian, Omar Tyree, author, Jim Vance, DC TV4, Michael Wilbon, Washington Post, ESPN, Michelle Wright, DC radio personality, Alex Williams, federal judge, Doug Williams, NFL Super Bowl and MVP, and my main man and dear friend, Willie Wood, NFL. You know, my only platform was AM radio in the streets of the inner city in Washington, D.C. How did all these folks come through me? Hey, because I was out there. I'm Harold Bell, and remember that every black face you see is not your brother, and every white face you see is not your enemy. Until next time, you can color me gone.